It's very nice to meet you, and I have heard a lot about you and read about it in your website. The first thing that came to my mind is, what made you shift your base from Australia and make India your second home?
Well, I read a book about India when I was a kid, so I always was interested. And then I had the privilege of visiting when I was 24, and I saw a fair bit of India, the rich and the poor, different states. And I pretty well fell in love with India then when I was 24. When I was 29, I was invited back by some Indian Christians to train some of them to run a Bible school that uses a specific method of study, thinking, and working out how the teachings in the Bible apply to your own life, your own cultural context. And during that time, I was really challenged by how these young people had not been really taught thinking skills and questioning skills, which was the whole basis of our 9-month program. And so that got me very interested in education and different projects along the way. I met my husband, who also loved India, and because we both love India, we have stayed a long time. He's an Aussie, and we have 2 Indian kids, so I say we're a half Indian, half Australian family.
Could you share with us how Gyananko came into existence?
Gyananko has a lovely story. Our village school was started by a lovely old Indian man from Daman, who was living in Pune, whose driver was from the village, and who had another old retired engineer friend. And the 3 of them worked together to set up the school.
Okay.
They had some other educationists helping part-time, and it got its government registration. It was about 150 kids after a couple of years, and the old man's daughter came to me and said, no one's willing to keep running the school unless my father keeps funding everything. Well, I've found I've become really passionate about educating the underprivileged. So not just the very poorest of the poor, but our goal is to provide access to those who wouldn't have access to quality education. Okay. Honestly, I think that's a lot of the population, if you agree with my definition of quality, which is basically we've formulated these 5 sort of mottos in our Gyananko programs. Okay. One is that school should have a joyful, loving atmosphere.
That's great.
So we're English medium, but we're also really pro the local language. Actually, I was always for learning in your mother tongue, and I've done a lot of research also on multilingual education around the world. But the Dalits met together in Hyderabad a few years ago, and they said to the leaders, we need English education. They felt that's the only way to get out of their poverty. And as a community development person, I believe we need to listen to people's expressed needs. But when we do our concerts and everything, we include the parents. We're not trying to show off that we're some pristine English organization. And we have a lot of cultural dancers, and nearly 2/3 of our last concert in our city school was Hindi and Marathi.
Melinda, how difficult has it been to nurture Gyananko, and how do you expect society at large to contribute towards this effort?
I mean, I've told people this has been the hardest 5 years of my life. It's been very difficult because we have this vision for quality at a low cost. And because also I'm an ideas person, so I have a lot of passion, I have a lot of vision, I want to expand, I have a lot of dreams also, other things I'd like to see happen. But it's also really getting everything to work well at the grassroots in the actual organization, that I'm not there every day, but I have certain goals that we want to live out what we believe. I'm an actions speak louder than words person. So it took a while to get the right school leader, for example, to find a school leader with the academic smarts and the character and the leadership skill. It took me quite some time. Now I've got a fantastic woman in the village, Shilpa, who I'm really excited about. She's also making a sacrifice. She could be in a high-end school on a bigger salary. I actually knew her at Bishop's years ago. So, the challenges financially, and then also getting volunteers. I've been trying to get volunteers, but often volunteers, the young people that come are from the BPO world, their schedules are very difficult. We've had a good experience with some Masters in Psychology students from Wadya College who've been working with some of our children from the slums in the city school. But we need, people who are good at computers, I got a new computer. I haven't moved my address book from my old computer to my new one. If someone could just come and help me. I can't afford to hire people all the time.
Naturally. Melinda, it was great talking to you, and we got a very good feel of the activities that you're carrying out, and it's an exemplary job, I must say, to handle 700 odd kids and bring so much life into them. One last question I have for you is, on the occasion of International Women's Day, as a woman, what is the message that you would like to give to the world?
Yeah, well, I'm really grateful for the people who encouraged me along the way. I also struggled with my own self-esteem and worth growing up in my own Australian culture. We have our issues also. And I look back to certain times where a leader, and often it was a man, came and believed in me and said, you could do this, you could do that. Mm-hmm. You know, even when I came to India to run that Bible school, I didn't really think I could do it. And a man came along and said, Melinda, you could do this. And I was even angry with him. How can he say such a thing? And, you know, because I didn't have that belief in myself. So I think we can bring healing to each other. We can speak words of hope. I think as women we have to get out past of our own hang-ups and our own hurts, get healing, forgive when you've been hurt and move on. And then I think we need to work together. So I think that's the most exciting thing, when people get together and work on this.
Thank you, Melinda. It has been nice talking to you. And a very good input, and I'm quite sure we can share this with society at large and try to see more help come to Kinankur and make your mission even more